Tonight, it's just you. No backup, no tech crew. Just the dark and whatever stares back at you. Welcome to the Abyss Podcast. I'm Billy Black, and today I'll be joined with Stephen Mitchell. This is Season 2, Episode 2, Solo Terror. This episode for the lone wolves, the brave, or maybe the reckless. Those who walk into the abandoned asylums, dark forests, and haunted basements alone, without anyone watching their back. We're diving into the madness that is solo paranormal investigation. You'll hear some chilling solo terror stories, learn about the gear that they rely on, and we'll ask the big question: are they flirting with the disaster, or is it the courage that they try to provide for their team? Let's descend. So we are now going.
Let's get this party started.
Yep. So solo investigating. Yeah. First thing I got on this, solo investigating isn't really for everyone. But most people want that reassurance of the team.
Mm-hmm.
If I hear something, I'd rather have someone there to really hear it. Hey, did you hear that? Verify it.
Yeah, a good backup, and that way you're not picking up a sound that may be natural. When you got a team member with you, it helps to justify and figure out what you're hearing.
But there is a breed of investigator out there. That silence, I guess you would consider it like that unfiltered investigator.
Yeah.
That feels like they can get more accomplished. Even though I don't agree, but that's neither there. You do have to worry about audio and video evidence being contaminated by others.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there is a safety factor to it.
Well, it can be, and you're right. There is some investigators can have that controlled where they find a place they can settle, sit down. They know they're not shuffling their feet. They know they're not making noise. So if they got a camera and a recording device, and they go Q&A, where if they get responses and they're in a place where there's nobody else at us but them, it can turn up some good evidence. But on that same note, you put yourself in a very vulnerable position.
Right. About to say there are some people. I think Ed Warren, before he met Lorraine, he actually did some investigations by himself.
Yeah.
Ed Warren. No offense to him. The man was a bit of a provoker. But people like John Zappies, trying to think of more modern ones.
Jalen from the Ghost Brothers. He likes to do solos.
Franco TV, CJ Faison.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, majorly. Yeah. You gotta respect it, but it
can be very dangerous. It can be dangerous.
Oh, majorly. I would feel better if someone was watching my back.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, there's I'm not trying to think of a good, because we have had points where things about us, we look for audio, visual, and things that either touch us or things like that. That sensory deprivation can betray you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sometimes when you're alone in the dark, your senses, they betray you. so badly.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is some science to the isolation for external validation. What do they call it? Isolation strips of your brain.
Yeah.
Because then you'll start thinking to yourself, was that a breath? Was that a whisper? Did something just move? And of course, no one's there. You can't ask nobody.
And the fear factor. That's another thing. When you're by yourself in isolation, it can be, you'll feel things because you get super sensitive and your hearing goes wild, your eyesight goes crazy. Especially when you get the hint of fear that something could be lingering in the darkness that you can't see, that might be something that would harm you. And that plays on your brain, so you're going to feel things that's not really happening.
Yeah, and crazy enough, there's actually someone in the field. She's a paranormal investigator, and she's a psychologist, Dr. Laura Hensley. She calls it threshold displacement.
Right.
When your mind crosses a threshold and starts rewriting sensory input as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in places like haunted spaces, your mind will try to fill in the blanks.
Or if you break, what you just said, is if you think somebody's reported something being haunted, and you go in there to expect the paranormal or expect demonic activity, and your brain will play the tricks on you, or your eyes actually seen something, but it really didn't see nothing other than shadow play. But your brain says, "Oh no, that was a figure." But
right.
Your cameras didn't see it or nothing else. Go ahead. I mean, I'm just.
No. You're dead on. A good example. Central State Hospital. Obviously, there's so many kids who break in and all that stuff, but there are some people I've seen online that are like going in by themselves, and they automatically jump straight to the conclusion because there are several reports that it's haunted, super fucking haunted.
In certain places, that place probably is, but it may not be every inch of it. And as well as I do, if you go into places where there's graffiti on the walls and lighting, you got a flashlight, or you're using a camera with a light, using an IR or whatever, and it's very shadowy, and you moving along, and graffiti kind of like past your peripheral, you almost see something that's not really there, And like we said, well, if you don't have someone backing you up, then it's you and the camera only.
Yeah, and you know what? That's actually, I mean, that's what makes solo investigating real. Because I mean, it's not just a ghost, but also yourself.
Right.
But what you just said. All right, gear. That's where things go into more extensive. Because you're by yourself, you got to be more prepared. You got to be almost preparing to the point of survivalist.
Right.
About to say we use like what EMF meters, spirit box, voice recorder. But you're gonna have to go as far as, let's see, body camera to capture your point of view, static cams to monitor your hot spots,
and even like a few of these modern paranormal investigators that's got the finances to afford it, the heart monitor to record your panic factor.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Well,
I've seen
that works with the brainwave, because if you're showing anxiety of something's already spooking you from the time you walk in, then you got a variation when you're doing your review to say, okay, you was already breathing heavy, you was already panicking because you're afraid something's going to get you. Was this touch actually there?
I don't know if you saw it or not. I actually shared a post on our Facebook group a while back. It was actually connected to that whole VR experimental stuff. They have developed a new thing when it comes to touch. So anything that you touch in the VR, you touch it and you can actually feel it in real life.
Okay.
So I'm actually wondering if there was like a reverse of it, where you could put something on your body, and if something touches you, the sensor would go off.
Right. And that's a possibility. It's something we need to look into, the scientific fact of it.
Right. And of course, everybody's seen the video, the whole Nuke's Top 5 video of the VR headset girl mapping, and it caught something. And I have to say, that's actually great evidence.
Pretty impressive. Yeah.
And I would actually love to try to do something with a VR headset to go further. I showed it to a friend who works with computers and all that, and he's a skeptic, but even he said there's no way to debunk that, just for the pure fact that the mapping software is literally meant to map your home. And I just smacked the mic.
Right. It's not going to map a person unless there's a person there.
Right. Now, even he had the same, he came to the same conclusion I did. He doesn't know if it's a real-time mapping software, or if it was like a snapshot type mapping.
That could be too.
Like, you're just going to catch a snapshot of it standing there where it's already moved on somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's the case, that's creepy. But yeah, it's. I would love to do something with VR. But then you got the other stuff. If you're a solo investigator, you have to have a lot of backup power.
And you have to have a strong will. I ain't gonna say a snap of a twig freaks you out. What was that? You need to have a strong constitution to say, okay, that could have been me. That could have been just a noise that is playing on my hearing.
Now, if you're out in the woods, I mean, that'd be a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah, you're out there in a vulnerable state where it could be a bear,
Bobcat, mountain lion.
Something that would do physical damage, not just the emotional part.
And that's where I actually come along the lines of what I saw in the news the other day. Even though we're a ghost hunting crew, I saw this on the news, and it freaked me out. It was on the news. 2 people went missing in Washington. They were Bigfoot hunting. But here's the thing. There was a search party, and all they found were their clothes, neatly folded and stacked.
They just went skinny dipping. They'll be back shortly.
They've been missing now for over a month.
Just joined in with the news kindly.
Bigfoot showed up and said, "Hey, I want a hug."
You gotta get rid of that clothes first, old man.
But yeah, it's I mean, I understand if it's 2 people and it wasn't technically solo, but just imagine there are people out there that actually investigate solo like that. And
I'm not going to go deep woods by myself. No, thank you.
Oh no. That comes along the other lines of, and actually me and Aaron actually, when we went to AT&T, we found these things, GPS beacons.
Okay.
You put them on your backpacks or whatever, and anytime you feel like, you need someone to know where you are, you hit the button. No matter where you are in the world, it lets them know within, I think, between a 2 to 5 mile radius of where you are.
Okay.
And I think it also comes with like an emergency contact call.
Pretty good deal.
And they didn't cost that much. I think it was only like $30.
Wow.
But that being said, if you are, say, out in the woods or you're at an abandoned building, you have to move slower. You have to be able to check everything that every corner, and you have to be able to ask more questions out loud to figure out your surroundings.
And this also brings up the question in my mind of personal safety. Like everybody knows us, that, the ones that do know us, that has met us, all know we pack. We carry our sidearms, and, we got one individual in the group that likes to use his little stun gun, which is fine. But it provides a source of protection. If you're doing a lot of solo hunting, it's best to protect yourself, so you don't have somebody watching your back, and you have something to protect your back.
Yep. I remember when we first got started, I think it was just you and Aaron had firearms.
No,
and I was carrying a Hornet spray.
Hey, it works. It works. But see, the point of the matter is, you got pepper spray, you got mace, you got tasers,
Hairspray.
Hairspray. If you got, if you whatever you got handy, if you can't afford to buy nothing, carry what you can. Because the fact of the matter is, going to come down to is, you don't have somebody watching your back, and something is there in its physical form, man, beast, what have you. You need to have something to say, okay, when I get done with this investigation, I'm going home.
Yeah, I mean, we've come across like squatters. I'm pretty sure
Raccoons.
Over at the that one cemetery. I'm not going to say it wasn't something, but if it was someone, that was a pretty decent way of how to come up on a group that's out in the middle of the woods all by themselves.
Yeah.
But one thing with equipment, I mean, their mistakes are going to happen, especially, and as a team, we usually cover each other with multiple devices.
Extra
but
battery,
when you're,
etc.
Yeah. But when you're solo, mistakes are bound to happen, and you're either going to be not marking your EVP timestamps, not telling anyone where you're going, not checking structures for safety. And I mean, it doesn't mean that they're stupid or anything, but
it means they're human.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to say we went to Seal Cook Home, if I were to do that by myself, I would have walked right into that building.
I would.
And well, that's because you've been there multiple times. You knew the structure.
Well, that's being in construction pretty much all my adult life. I had this first innate thing to look at a foundation settle and look through windows. If you see a roof sag, wall bowing, leaning, doors scrubbing the floor to the point that you're not going to get that door open, or your door's already wide open, you ain't going to get it shut. That tells me that there's integrity issues there, that you may be walking fine for a moment. You might step the wrong way, pass it down in between two floor joists, and you're in the basement. Not a good feeling.
Yeah. I don't know, when we was on I think it was in the side of the administration building, I saw the wall where I guess it was where the chimney was.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of saw where it was bowing out, and I'm like, yeah, if I would have been in there, I could feel like something, if I had hit a wall or something, that thing would have fell, and all that would have came down on me.
See, that's another thing. If you're doing group hunts like we do, where you got 2 or 3 people together, watch each other back, kind of, everybody individually asking questions and leaving space time, and you're also that funhouse effect, where you're walking on a floor, the structures give a little bit, and if you got somebody with you that's watching behind you as they're walking, they can see when you step and they see a floor give. That's how your alarm goes off. Hey, we might want to back up. That floor looks kind of weak.
Right, kind of like, not going to name the church, but the church that we went to, we could see holes in the ground, and we would tell people that we were with, like, hey, watch out, there's going to be a hole right there.
Yep.
I did speak with some people of some stories that they had.
Okay.
They're not super long, but yeah. And yes, I gave some of these stories some titles.
Okay.
The Voice in the Chapel. Shane M., a solo investigator from Ohio, entered the remains of St. Agnes Chapel in 2019. I will say this before I get into it. I did not inquire if they had permission. So we're going to assume that they did.
Yep.
It's a collapsed stone ruin known for strange figures and phantom bells. He set up a body cam and a voice recorder, leaving a flashlight by the altar. For the first 30 minutes, he didn't hear anything. Then his recorder picked up a whisper of a child saying, "Come back." He played it back, and he didn't hear anything. He kept walking. Moments later, his flashlight started flickering and shut off. The audio captured it all. Footsteps behind him, but he never saw anything. When he reviewed his camera, his shadow had passed by the altar just before the lights went out.
His shadow?
No, a shadow.
Oh, a shadow.
Like,
okay.
like you could see. He said you could see his silhouette, like going up on the wall.
All right.
This shadow was going from right to left.
Yeah. That's right at the altar.
Right there at the altar.
Wow.
The jail cell knock. Mary Kay, I know.
Not judging.
She runs a paranormal blog. In 2021, she locked herself in an abandoned county jail somewhere in the South.
Why?
Don't ask me. She placed cameras facing the hallway and entered cell block B. Her plan was to sit in silence for an hour. Half an hour in, her static cam captured a noise, 3 loud knocks on the metal bars. She asked, "Was that you?" No reply. Then her body cam caught something bone-chilling. The cell door slammed shut. She had left it open. You can hear her panic. She tries to open it, but it won't budge. She radios her friend who is waiting outside, or supposed to be waiting outside. It took her friend over an hour to know that she was locked in there because her friend, supposedly the radio was on. But she said when supposedly she tried a radio, nothing was coming through.
Yeah, it was a little bit freaky there.
Yeah, when she calmed down and everything, she had radioed again. Her friend finally came in within 10 minutes, opened up the door, and they tested it. They closed the door opened right back up.
It's almost like something holding it.
Right. When they opened the cell door for the last time, the latch was bent from the inside.
Oh, wow.
Okay, the missing time. Derek W. is a skeptic turned believer. In 2020, he explored a burned out farmhouse alone. It was late winter. Snow on the ground. He remembers walking in at 9 p.m., setting up a camera and checking each room. There was nothing. Next thing you know, he woke up on the front porch. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. He said all he remembers is that he turned on his camera, he walked into the basement, and that was it. It's like he blacked out. And same thing with his camera. His camera caught him going down into the basement, and then boop, it shuts off. Battery completely drained. Yeah. When he got home, he noticed deep scratches along his shoulder, and he had no idea how he got them or how he got on the front porch. I told him I would like to know where this burned out farmhouse is.
Be nice, yeah.
So yeah, those were the stories. I did have another one. I didn't give it a title, but it was from a friend of mine who wants to be left anonymous. She was in, yeah. Wait, was that you?
Oh.
You didn't go,
I heard it though.
Oh, well. Hey, blooper reel.
Kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that.
So yeah, I got a friend who wants to be left anonymous. She said that I'm trying to say this without saying the name of the place because you're technically not supposed to be there at night.
Yep.
So she was in a cemetery. You're going to know which one this is. It's big.
Okay.
It's near you.
Okay.
She was out.
I already know where you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yep. She was out there, and she caught some stuff. A lot of stuff, actually. And somehow she got hit in the back of the head. And the camera caught it, like the moment she got hit, but there was no one there. Next, she wakes up. And when she wakes up, she's getting off this like tombstone, and camera caught part of it. It caught like a face. It was almost human, like actual human. And she actually thought it was someone, and she ran.
Okay.
Yeah. She told me that, and I'm like, that just makes me want to go there more.
I know stories about the cemetery that, of course, I can't tell the stories on here because it would tell you that it'd tell anybody that knows these stories which cemetery we were talking about.
Yeah.
But a Civil War soldier activity, I would love to go out and investigate.
She was telling me that she went out there back in 2022.
Okay.
And she was just out there, and you could hear pops.
Yeah.
Like musket pops. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be something? They're still fighting the damn war.
Well, just like the battleground up in North Georgia. They claim you go out there at night and just got to get quiet and sit and listen. You can hear gunfire just back and forth.
Oh, they say the same thing about Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Gettysburg,
everybody knows about it. And you hear cannon roar.
Oh, yeah. Or flutes and drums.
Yep.
God, you hear it all the time.
I mean, we caught drums at Boss Ferry.
Yeah.
That was one of my biggest. Did y'all hear that? And I took off running to investigate and see who was on the other side of the river beating on a drum because I heard it plainly.
Crazy enough, I went back and actually listened to the Balls Ferry stuff.
You can hear it.
When I was whistling, I didn't do a third whistle.
Something else did.
Something whistled back, and we never noticed it. I guess I assumed it was one of like someone else whistling, but yeah. So what do you make of these solo investigations?
Me, I'm okay with them. It's you make sure you're in a safe environment. I would say, you and your team has already been through it, and you're pretty much sure that it's I ain't gonna say catch further from the ghost kind of attitude, but it's a safe environment. We can do a solo and maybe get some more activity and more answers by a single person rather than a group. Hey, go for it. But if it's a situation where it could be this or it could be this, which we both know what this is, and I still got a lot to learn on that. I mean, I have learned over the years, if you get that hair spine tingle, that's, your brain starts hollering danger stranger kind of thing, it might be time not to do a single. But like there again, what I said a while ago, if you're trying to prove yourself to the group by doing a solo, you're doing it for the wrong reason. And therefore, you could be using fear factors of your own mind that would create things that's not there.
Yeah, it's like looking at a meter and you're looking at brave and reckless.
Yeah.
And the more, if you're trying to prove it to the rest of your friends or your group, then you're at the point of reckless.
And that's dangerous.
Brave is when you're wanting to find out more information, more scientific evidence, but you're not playing tricks on your mind.
Right. You're going in with a thought that, if there's something here and it will talk to me, I would rather be putting myself in the position of being here by myself, being vulnerable, rather than not doing it and just never know what will happen here or who they are.
Yeah, there's something almost raw about facing the unknown alone, but it comes at a price.
Oh, me and you both know the story about me facing my fear alone in a hallway with a motorcycle that's just shut off for no reason.
Yep, and crazy. And yeah, I still think that was the same entity I faced out there.
Good old doppelganger.
I'm actually, as I've learned more, I don't think it was a doppelganger.
I believe that what my face was.
I think it was a mimic.
Yeah, could be. But I actually seen myself, man. And when he stepped toward me, I was like, nope, got to go.
Well, my thing is, all right, you look at the stories about doppelgangers, they always fit the description of yourself at that time period, right?
Not necessarily. Well, I mean, age-wise, yes, yeah.
What I faced was someone that looked exactly like me, but they look like how I am now.
Older, okay.
Whereas at the time, I was about 15, 16 years old.
Okay, now in the next couple of years, if you come across an old gray-haired man that said, you want to go back in time, tell him, nah, I think I'll pass, because you're going to scare myself in a ghost hunt.
Yeah, right. But, yeah, some people go missing, some come back changed, and others never go again.
Yep.
But if you're going to do it smart, do it safe, and maybe don't go looking for answers you're not ready to find.
Exactly. And by all means, make sure you take something to protect yourself with. But don't be trigger happy. If you do carry a sidearm, carry a handgun like I do, you don't want to go jerking the holster and pulling the hammer back and ready to shoot. One of your buddies walking around the corner checking on you and you cap them, That could be bad. We ain't here to create paranormal. We're here to investigate it.
Or as I always say, I want to go ghost hunting. I don't want to become the ghost.
Exactly. And in that circumstance, for those that are sitting back waiting for a call for help or somebody, hey, can you come here and leave me out or whatever, make sure you come up with a way to identify yourself before you get to where this person's at.
Right.
You don't want to catch hairspray in the eyes. That shit burns.
But yeah, and the same thing goes for like homeless people. You never know, and some of them are actually nice people. They just want to be left alone.
Well, they fell into bad circumstances. They just got to have some place to sleep.
Right. But well, that's all we had for this episode. If you've gone on a solo investigation, we want to hear about your story. You can message us over on the Facebook group. We also have a Facebook page. Or you can email your story at deadsharkparanormal1@gmail.com. Now that is Dead Shark Paranormal, all one word. The number 1, not one spelled out, at gmail.com. Next time we have an episode, I don't know when, we're going to be looking into haunted objects. What happens when the spirit doesn't haunt a place but follows you home. But until then, and remember, when you walk into the dark alone, something might be walking with you.